So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle on my fabric in chalk. And I'm going to flip the fabric over onto the back to draw the circle. So I'm using a white charcoal or white chalk pencil. And I'm drawing the circle as best I can. And then when I go ahead to cut it out, I'm actually going to cut it out a little bit outside that line. So I'm not cutting it out exactly on that line. I'm cutting it a little outside the line, and that is called a seam allowance. So first of all, I'm darkening in my circle to make sure that the lines are very easy to see. And then I'm going to cut the circle, not all the way around. I'm going to cut it most of the way around. And I'm going to cut it leaving an extra little gap of fabric. And that gap is called a seam allowance. Now I cut it most of the way around, and then I'm actually going to fold the fabric over. Now when I fold it over, I still want it to be wrong side out. I don't want to see the pretty side. I want to see the inside for now. So I don't fold it this way. No, I flip it over and I fold it the other way. There we go. And then I'm going to pin it to the remaining fabric. And once I've pinned it, I'm going to cut around it so that I have a second circle, because I have to sew those two circles to each other. So you notice that I cut outside the white line. That white line is actually going to be where I sew. So if I cut right against the white line, I wouldn't have any markings to show where I'm supposed to sew around the edge. So once I have that cut out, I'm going to start sewing. Let me just, this time you can cut exactly on the line. You don't have to cut outside because you already have the seam allowance from when you measured it the first time. So now I'm going to just go around the outside. I'm going to cut. And then when I'm done cutting, I'm going to thread my needle again, and I'm going to sew most of the way around the outside of the circle on the white line. I'm going to leave a little bit of space to turn it inside out and stuff it. And I'm going to be using the same sewing technique I used before, the exact same running stitch. I'm going to get almost to the end. I'm going to leave a little gap so that I can turn it inside out and stuff it. And then I'm going to go right back around again in between all the stitches so that I have the solid line of running stitches. So because I've showed this to you before, I'm now going to speed up the film to get to the point where I'm ready to turn it inside out. Here, as you can see, is my solid line of stitches, and now I'm ready to make my chain stitch at the end and cut the thread. Go through the loop. Pull it nice and tight. Cut the thread, and then turn the whole thing inside out so that the raw stitches are in the inside and not showing. So let's speed through this next part. Turned it inside out, and now I am going ahead and stuffing it. Then I'm going to turn the raw edges in, pin them closed, and do some invisible stitching to stitch up that last little bit, which is going to give me not really anything that looks like a beanbag chair. It's just going to look like a little round pillow. And I'm going to show you how we're going to make it look like a little comfortable poof for Mr. Bendy Man to sit in. So now that I've cut the thread, I'm going to I'm going to get a new piece of thread because this thread's too short. I'm going to thread my needle, and then once I'm done tying the knot, I'm actually going to make a stitch right in the middle of the pillow, right through the stuffing, front to back. So let me real quick thread my needle. And I just go right through the middle of the fabric, pull it straight through to the other side, pull it nice and tight. And then I'm going to actually go around the outside, go back to the middle, poke it through again, and then just pull it really tight so that I get a dimple in the, edge of my pillow. Nice and tight. And now you see the little poof starting to form. So you just make your way around the pillow, making these little indentations using your thread. There you go. It's going to be a really, really super comfortable poof for Mr. Bendy Man to sit in. And I'm just going to make a few stitches in the middle to give it almost like a little decorative button in the middle. So I'm just stitching around a few straight lines, almost like a flat embroidery stitch, just to give it a little bit of a decoration. Just tying it nice and tight. Then I go through the loop and I pull it tight. And that's my chain stitch. And now I can cut the thread. And there's Bendy Man on his poof. He's very happy and comfy. And now I think he's going to go to bed in his nice cozy bed, on his nice cozy pillow, under his nice cozy comforter. So I've shown you the running stitch, I've showed you the chain stitch, I've showed you the back stitch, and I've showed you how to use your stitches to kind of make indentations to make a nice poof for a beanbag chair. And that's how you would use sewing to create your Mr. Bendy Man dream apartment. This is Mrs. Winterberg, the helpful art teacher.